Right here, down. Protect your out. We put the work in. Let's finish. Come on, man. Let's do this. Man, we up to 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
See, we dream chase, cause that's all we was given to start with. Then we realized the dream was obtainable. Now look at us.
What's going on, Eagles Nation and TMTP family? Welcome to the Main Thing Podcast presents. It's your boy, Mr. Owens, and after further review, the call stands. I'm still official with no stripes.
What's going on, Eagles family? This is your man, Big Huss, the one you trust. Bring you all your Philadelphia Eagles latest. We're coming to you on a Friday evening here to discuss what will be a special podcast. We're gonna discuss a few things. It'll be not only the review of the Week 18 matchup versus the Giants, but it'll be a quick review of the season, just our thoughts, how we felt on it, and then we're gonna jump into playoff matchups, baby. But to start with the review, hey, ended the season on a good timeout. Let's run that back. Before I get started, I want to send out some prayers and love to the California wildfire victims. You all really going through a lot. I'm praying that everything turns around for you all. It's very unfortunate that you had to go through something like that. So prayers and love to all the victims and families out there. Sending y'all nothing but blessings and love for real.
Definitely sending blessings for sure.
But yeah, Week 18, backups. They hosted the New York Giants. We walked away with that victory, 20-13. Honestly, it was I don't want to call it an impressive victory, but it was a good victory. It really showed a lot of the depth that this team has, and just not only just the depth, the true potential within the depth. And you really just saw it across the field, both sides of the ball. They were going against not all the New York Giants starters, but majority of them. There was still a lot of Pat Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau. You still had a lot of these guys out there, and these backups were holding their own, and some coming away with that victory, 20-13. How you feel about that game, bro?
Yeah, Huss, like you said, all around impressive victory, especially for our reserves. You couldn't have said it any better. I'm gonna add on to your point. Our depth on our team is phenomenal. Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie do a great job of getting the players in, and then getting them into our culture and buying into our system and performing the way they do. If you didn't know that these were our reserves, you probably would have thought, oh, maybe some of the starters were playing. Like, am I missing something? But no, you weren't. Those were our second and third stringers, and most times fourth stringers on the field at one time. What I was really impressed by was the way how Tanner McKee came out and commanded the offense.
Absolutely.
He looked like he's been there before. He wasn't rattled. He was getting the ball out quickly. He was going through his progressions and his reads and making the right passes. Now, I know he had some errant throws. One to Jahan Dotson on the sideline, with Jahan Dotson, I believe, either ran the deep corner route or he ran a comeback route. It was one of the routes, but he sailed it over his head. And then another one where he threw a little bit low, but Goddard would tell you that he should catch it, but he threw it kind of low and behind him on the third down play, which could have moved the chains. But other than that, he was very solid. Like I said, he had a command of the offense. You can tell that he's been working and waiting for his moment. Actually, a funny thing I heard on the game segment that he picked up his parents from the airport. Now, you know, he's not to that point yet, but he's still doing his son obligations and getting his parents. But overall, had a phenomenal game. I was very impressed with Jahan Dotson. Being the number one target. I know it's hard being in the shadow of AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, but coming out for 93 yards on 9 catches, I believe that's amazing. I want that to translate and go into the playoffs smoothly and hope that he gets more targets. The offensive line played a phenomenal game as a whole, whether run blocking or pass blocking. They were all on the same accord. It was a lot of communication between them. A lot of the times, even when the Giants and their mishaps when they were jumping off sides and getting into the neutral zone, our men knew what to do. We held our water, stayed on our side of the ball, and played discipline. So we got to shout out real quick Anaya Smith and EJ Jenkins for their first career touchdowns. Big kudos to that. But overall, I like the run pass balance that Kellen Moore did. I also like the fact that he didn't use too much of the offense in this game plan, because we know what we will do in the playoffs, so people couldn't get a gauge on what we will do. So shout out to them. And then real quick on the defense, the defense played phenomenally, whether it was Jordan Davis, whether it was Oren Burks, Jeremiah Trotter, Sidney Brown, Keely Ringo. I might be missing a few other players, but for the overall, the defense definitely showed up. They came to compete. Tristan McCullum made some plays, even though he was out of position on some plays. Overall, he did make some plays. I like the fact that he was communicating to Sidney Brown in the back end and being a coach, because normally, Sidney Brown is a starter. So to see a reserve safety coaching up another safety who missed last year because of the unfortunate ACL injury, that was a beautiful sight. But overall, Vic Fangio had them ready and prepared to play. And I was proud of what I saw, and great job on getting that win.
Absolutely. To be the backups, reserve players for, and you could tell that they prepared as if they truly were the starters the whole season for real. Yes. That's players and coaches. You could tell they were coached up. Everybody knew their assignment. Everybody knew where to be. Everybody, as you said, was on the same accord. Tanner McKee had went 27 of 41 for 269 yards, 2 touchdowns, and over 100 passer rating. For your second start, my baby, you're balling.
Come on.
Straight balling. We gonna have some QB, I don't want to call them concerns, but some things to rearrange or work on, or work with, I should say, in that QB room between Tanner McKee, Pickett, and obviously QB1 for real. Do you talking about, you low key, it looks like you have 3 potential starters? Maybe. We'll see.
QB2.
You feel me? But no, loving what I saw out of Tanner, like I said, especially being his second year in the league. You could tell the offense was a little bit different, being that he's not as mobile as Jalen Hurts, but he uses his size to really, you could see down the field, and it gives him a clear vision of what's happening. He was able to let it rip. As you mentioned, Jahan Dotson, over 90 yards on a year where he might have had 20 targets the whole year. Yeah, I mean, maybe 12 catches. He had 7 in this game, over 90, really balled up, really stepped up as that number 1 receiver in this game. And hopefully, not only showed the coaching staff and possibly showed Jalen Hurts, like, hey, bro, you give me an opportunity, I can make some plays. I thought Will Shipley did well. He had over 30 yards rushing. He had over another 30 yards receiving. Showed why we drafted him. Versatile running back, can run the ball, catch the ball like all our running backs can. He showed some promise, as you mentioned. EJ Smith, he got his first touchdown. Or EJ Jenkins, got his first touchdown. That was big. And like Smith got his first touchdown on, honestly, which wasn't an easy grab. The ball was behind him. He's having to contort his body, fall back. Really good catch. I loved what I saw to Jordan Davis on the defensive side of the ball. Showed energy. He was live. Was all over the field. He, especially for dating back to last year, being at this point in the season, as we talked off camera, to see him with that type of energy, that type conditioning, still making those type plays you're talking about in week 18. I love that. That's a lot of promise going into the playoffs. The linebackers, I don't even know if we should be surprised, being this Vic Fangio specialty. Oren Burks, Jeremiah Trotter, Jr., they balled. Straight up ball. You're talking about close to 30 tackles between them. Oren Burks had 17. Trotter Jr., X-Men Jr. had 11, I believe. You could tell this defense is set up for linebackers to make plays. If you are an inside linebacker and a Vic Fangio defense, you're salivating at the chops. You're like, oh, I'm gonna eat. This is made for me kind of deal. You know, it's just I like to see that they were active. You know, didn't seem just out of position on plays, just really in phase a lot. And then I want to give a shout out to Sidney Brown, man, after getting tossed. Yeah, I'm saying in week 17 for some antics. Even though I love it, baby, keep it up. But not came back, bounced back, had a game-sealing interception, showing why, hey, put me on the field. I can make plays. Very rangy, explosive player, physical player. I really liked what I saw out of this backup group. Eli Ricks got in a few plays. They showed like, hey, if things were to go left in some positions, hey, we have some players who can step in, fill in, and we really wouldn't miss a beat. Really, really impressive. Really impressive.
Even one person, we've been hard on him in the past on our channel, but Avonte Maddox. Avonte Maddox had a very solid game. He didn't look out of place at safety. Maybe that's where he'll be his strong suit at. Well, not at safety. Well, he played in safety on a dime packages, but then when he was playing nickel, he didn't look out of place. He was making plays on the ball. I know one play he came up and hit. What's the guy? 17.
Waddle.
No, not Waddle.
Robinson. I'm sorry.
Wandell.
Yeah, they look looking the same.
Yeah, Wandell Robinson. He came up, made a solid tackle, but I just wanted to shout him out real quick because we have been hard on him for sure.
Oh, for sure, rightfully so. But stepped in, did what he's supposed to do. I forgot to mention, Dallas Goedert was back in this game. He had a few snags. He looked good, knocking the rust off. So it was just an overall good win to close out what was already an impressive season. Starters got the rest, so they use this as their bye week. As we know, it was good. But quick little thoughts on the season as a whole. Feelings?
Yep, real quick, Hus, before we get into the season thoughts, with Tanner McKee, who does he remind you of? Like how he plays his game style. What quarterback comes to mind to you?
I almost said something. This is YouTube. Foley, baby. He folds all day.
Oh, you're my bro.
You know what I'm saying? Folds all. Yeah. It's not even. It's clear. It's clear. Hey, that's how I know he'll be here next year. Somebody won't.
Folds. But yeah, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, thoughts on the season. So you already know how diehard of fans we are. We support this organization since we were born. To see where we came from last year, and how we finished last year. I got some quick stats real quick on last year's finish. So the Eagles of 2023, our offense, which really hasn't been a concern in many ways. They finished 7th in points, 8th in yards, 7th in plays, 12th in average, 8th in rush yards, 6th in rush attempts, 21st in pass attempts, 12th in pass average, and had finished 11th in sacks, right? So now to the defense really quickly. They finished 30th in points, 26th in yards, 27th in plays, 24th in average, 10th in rush yards, 5th in rush attempts, 20th in rush average, 28th in pass yards, 32nd in pass attempts, and 15th in pass average, and 19th in sacks. The one big takeaway where I want to say is with plays, we ran 1,105 plays last year, right? Now you come real quick to us this year. Our team rank again, offense, 82, 8th in yards, 3rd in plays, 11th in average, 2nd in rush yards, 1st in rush attempts, 5th in rush average, 30th in pass yards, 32nd in pass attempts, 7th in pass average, 20th in sacks. Why I really wanted to point this out is because this is the difference of how I felt with this season and why we're on the trajectory that we have been on. It's our defense. The fact is, like I said, we finished in the 30th and the high 20s and things like that last year. The drastic turnaround from this year is we're 2nd in points, 1st in yards, 1st in plays, 1st in average, 10th in rush yards, 7th in rush attempts, 9th in rush average, 2nd in pass yards, 12th in pass attempts, first in pass average, and 13th in sacks. Do you see the drastic difference? We never had, like I said, never had a thought about how the offense was going to perform. Yeah, we added one piece. We added Saquon Barkley in the backfield. We knew that, okay, the rest of the offense and the boys have been together for at least since Super Bowl 2022, right? Our main concern was the defense. We projected, and like we said, we didn't even think that our defense was going to be and reach the heights that they are now. We thought they were going to be middle of the pack in the teens.
Facts.
We had a question mark at linebacker. We had a question mark at nickel. We had a question mark at the other corner, CB2. We didn't know how that was going to turn out. And the fact that Vic Fangio has literally got this defense to elite status in 1 year is something that is exceptional on his part. You can tell that he really knows football and puts his players in the best position to win, in the best place. I mean, in the best position to make plays. Our defense is going to carry us. Our defense last year couldn't get off the field on third downs. Now we're getting off the field. We're winning field position. That is key to winning a lot of football games. Our offense sustains drives, time of possession, which they have been doing, capitalizing in the red zone. Our defense sometimes bails our offense out. But again, like you always say, Big Huss, what do? Play complementary football. Right. Now, I'm going to give a quick summary real quick on the season. I'm going to make it real brief because we don't want to take too much time on this topic. But we started out 2-2, right? We had the Packers in Brazil, and then Atlanta at home. We lost that game on some unfortunate plays and things like that. We left some plays on the field. Then after that, we went to New Orleans. And then finally after that, we finished with Tampa. That first month, I wanted to see and gauge how the Eagles, what I will see them as. Well, I see them as, okay, they're going to get to the playoffs. Are they going to get to the NFC Championship game? Or is this a Super Bowl caliber type of roster? After the first month, we really couldn't get a fair assessment because, of course, we had A.J. Brown out. We had Devontae Smith out for some games. We couldn't get a fair assessment. We had injuries. So then once we came back from the bye week, okay, we didn't really start out strong. We had the Browns, I believe, after the bye week. And then who do we have after the Browns, Huss?
It was the Browns, then the... Hold on, brother. Got you right here. After the Browns, we had the Giants.
The Giants. Okay. Yep. So after the Browns, we had the Giants. We didn't have a best game against the Browns. That's when Sirianni, who we love on this channel, by the way, he had to spat with the fans and things like that. And it wasn't looking kosher at that point. It looked like we were about to just unravel and go back to 2023. Go back, like I said, to 2023. And even it was some points where Sirianni was called for his job. People were saying we should fire Sirianni, right? So then we beat up on New York. Saquon has a record day. We go against the Bengals, submit ourselves. Then we come back against the Jags. We hold on by the skin of our teeth against the Jags, right? Then it just seems like once we got to the Cowboys week and we beat them 34-6, it just seemed like we went on, like just hit all of our strides, because I don't know if it was the Giants game where Fangio put in Coop, but whatever game that Fangio imported Coop into that lineup and banked on Quinyon being able to hold that corner spot, that CB2, and then N'Kobe Dean and Zach Bondman in the middle, we just hit and started clicking all cylinders. So what basically I'm trying to say is this whole season, I've had faith in being where we are now. Going into the wild card weekend, playing the Packers at home, even with all the ups and downs, I just still felt that we couldn't give a fair assessment of our birds because we were injured. You see what I'm saying? So right. The fact is, like, now we look back at all that we had battled and endured a lot of that pain, but then now what's the benefit that we get from all of that? Not only did we have a 10-game win streak, we set the mark for the best record in organization history at 14-3.
Tied it.
We tied it. We tied it at 14-3. Thank you. But the one thing, Huss, is we have health. That's the beautiful part about this. A lot of teams, when you look around, even look at the Packers, Christian Watson goes out with his ACL. People have played and got injured. We have health on our side. So overall, I've always had faith in this team. It never wavered. I just felt that we had to get on the same accord. It had to be more communication. And we had to realize, stop trying to do everything yourself. You have people on the side of you that are just as good as you, if not better than you. Play for each other. So overall, like I said, I'm just excited about how the season went. I love the fact that the coaches did what they did. They owned up to their mistakes. Everybody just held themselves accountable. That's what I'm proud of, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do here in a 2025 playoffs.
Nah, for sure. And you pretty much touched on it all, so I'm not going to go too much into it. But yeah, like you said, it was how we ended last season, losing our last 6 of our 7, then rolling into this season, starting 2-2. If you were to look at those first 4 games, you really would have thought like, it might not be our year. you know what I mean? Like, it was just, you were saying a lot of the same things that got us bounced from the playoffs in 2023. Just undisciplined football, folks not being on the same page, bad defense, poor tackling, however you want to put it. It was all evident in those first 4 games. Now, you could say we beat the Packers, and yes, that was an impressive win. But to lose to the Falcons and to lose to the Bucks, embarrassed, like the Bucks really embarrassed us for real. You were like, yeah, this team's gonna fold. The media's gonna get in their head. They're gonna get in their own heads. It's over. They came out of that week 5 bye a completely different team, and I'm not even just talking players, coaches as well. Everybody bought into the toughness together. Everybody had each other back. Like you said, the communication, if it was like on a 3 or 4, it jumped up to an 11. Like, just drastic difference. Offense, they fought through their roles. You know, turnovers were one of the main issues that we had dating back to last year, early in this season. That got nipped in the bud. You went several games before seeing an interception, fumble, whatever. They just really found themselves. They found their identity and they stuck to that. And I was just like, you know what? This team might make some noise. You talking about you went from 2-2 to 12-1 your last 13 games, you know, and one of those games is straight backups and they're even doing their thing. You know, so it was just, I was proud to see how they came together and did not implode, for lack of better words, how they did in that previous season. We said tied a franchise record as far as wins with 14. Last time we mentioned on one of the previous podcasts, the 3 times we went 13-3 plus 13 plus wins. We were Super Bowl bound.
Super Bowl.
Bowley. Okay. So that gives you some hope and that, hey, this team can really do it. Their free agent signings in Saquon Barkley and Zach Bond, probably 2 of the best free agent signings I probably say of the decade. Off the season they've had, you had one guy who we knew he had talent being with the New York Giants, and Saquon Barkley had talent, proved it his rookie year and showed it over the years to follow, but never had a season like this. He's breaking his own records. You have Zach Bond, who went from being a special teamer. You might have not really ever heard his name if he would have stayed with the Saints, because he's sitting there behind Demario Davis, who is a dog in his own right. You know what I mean? So dog in his own right. So I can understand why you weren't getting on the field like that. But Fangio saw something in you. Howie saw something in you. Jeff saw something in him, and they brought him in thinking, hey, he'll be a special teams guy. Vic said, nah, that's going to be my middle linebacker. They go through the whole offseason training camp. Folks like, is he serious? Is this really going to be a thing? We're kind of unsure. We'll see how it plays out. He went above and beyond this year. Those two pieces, I would say, those two guys were pivotal pieces in the turnaround of this season, along with bringing in new coordinators. You have I'm blank. Why does blank on the offensive coordinator's name? Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore.
You have Kellen Moore, who came in somewhat highly decorated, but still had that little bit of shadow over his name. Was, can he do it? Yeah, he's put up numbers, but his teams typically fold. You know what I'm saying? This year, and then you go in, he's a big pass guy. He's not going to run the ball. They're going to be throwing it all over the yard. It's not going to work out for him. You'll see. He came in, he said, yeah, I like to throw the ball, but I'm looking at what we got. I'm looking at the players we have. I'm going to coach to their strengths. And we decided to become a run-first team, to the tune we run the ball 55% of the time. If you'd have thought Kellen Moore, you'd have never thought he's running the ball 50% of the time, 55% of the time. So he kind of changed his identity and really bought into what the team does best, putting them in the best position. You talked about the defense. The defense in 2023, garbage, a trash burger.
Roshi.
Oh my God, basura, like terrible.
Gabibi.
Yeah, okay, terrible. He comes in, and his first year, you're thinking, hey, this is an older guy. Vic Fangio has been coaching longer than some of these guys have been alive. Most of them have been alive. Okay, you're talking about 40-some years of coaching. Will he be able to connect to these players? I mean, will they buy in? Then you have the rumors and stuff coming off them from the Miami Dolphins. They quote unquote glad to get rid of them. Players weren't bought into the system. They didn't connect. That wasn't the case here. He got here with that, hey, it's about ball and nothing else. And these players bought in 1,000% to turn this defense around from what it was, bottom of the barrel last year, to literally the number one defense. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, it's a miracle. I mean, it's amazing. Like, he truly has done a fantastic job with this unit, not only just coaching them up and putting them where they need to be, but having them buy in, making it fun for these guys. You look back at last year, especially early in the year, we were winning, but football wasn't fun. Even as a fan, you sitting there like, I don't like how that looks. Mm-hmm. This year, it's a completely different vibe. You go into these games like, hey, man, I ain't saying we're going to blow them out 50-3, but we should put up some numbers and hold them, you know what I mean, to nothing. You have that faith and just that promise in this team. So I tip my hat to Fangio. I tip my hat to Kellen Moore. I tip my hat to Nick Sirianni for humbling himself, taking a step back, realizing that, hey, I'm going to do what's best for the team and really acting on that. So I really tip my hat to them guys, how they turned this around, how this team has went in and fought, especially since that week 5 bye. Hey, I'm all in. This is the first time that the Eagles defense has been ranked number 1 since 1991.
Mm-hmm. The gangrene defense.
Everybody know about that. Seth, all them boys, y'all know what's up. If you know, you know. So this team, when you look at it, you're like, oh, this is an offensive team, but quiet as it's kept, this is a defensively driven Philadelphia Eagles football team. So that's kind of what I got on the review of the season. Did you want to add anything? Any other thoughts? Or
no? So the only thing I want to add, Huss, because I've been meaning to do it and I keep forgetting every video that we do, but I want to give a shout out to AJ Brown. He became the first player in Eagles history over the first 3 seasons to catch 4,000 yards receiving. Also, he's the second player in NFL history to catch a touchdown pass by 3 different starting quarterbacks. So I thought that was kind of interesting. That's dope.
That is interesting. Hey, a lot of receivers can't catch a pass from one. So you catching it from 3 different guys, hey, you're balling. Then if I'm not mistaken, AJ Brown also had a 0% drop rate. Anything that pretty much, and it's not, if they're throwing it over his head, that doesn't count, or if it's a ball that's not catchable, that doesn't count. Anything that was in his vicinity that he could get his hands on, for the most part, he caught. So sure-handed guy, AJ Brown has been a dream to Philadelphia Eagles fans. So yeah, now that's sweet, man.
And see, like you said, that's one major thing to have a receiver that has a big catch radius. When your catch radius is big, you could put that thing anywhere. Majority of the time, that receiver gonna come down. And AJ Brown 9 times, 10 times out of 10 comes down with that football.
Hey, and you said one. We have 2 receivers whose catch radius is ridiculous.
Crazy.
It's bonkers for real. So yeah, now that definitely helps QB1 out all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, moving into the main course, the meat and the potatoes,
main thing.
To the main thing. You feel me? Of the discussion, it's wild card weekend, baby. Stop playing.
Come on,
the
bro.
Playoffs are here. The playoffs are here. Okay, Eagles coming in this joint, number 2 seed, going against the Green Bay Packers, number 7 seed. We're 14-3. They're 11-6. This is our second time meeting them this year. First time we saw them, week 1. Yeah, we were a different team. Hell, they were a different team. Things have changed over these 18 weeks. Okay, but in some regards, things are the same. And I say that because these 2 teams are kind of somewhat based off some of the same principles. You have a LaFleur coach or a Coach LaFleur who comes off that Shanahan tree where they want to run the ball like we want to run the ball. Okay, they want to run that play action or hit that play action like we want to hit that play action. They do RPOs, we do RPOs. We just do it all better.
They want to win time of possession.
Then we want to win time of possession. Okay, and they try to play solid defense. The Packers defense has vastly improved as well. They brought in, I forget the guys, something Haley, I believe, from Boston College. First year,
Charles Haley, I believe.
Charles Haley from Boston College was the head coach of Boston College and now the DC for the Packers. He's got that unit balling. So this is a matchup where we come in somewhat similar, but also very much different. And before we truly dive in, I just want to give some love to some players, some well-deserving players. We have 6 players who were named to the AP All-Pro team, and Saquon Barkley, Zach Bond, AJ Brown, Jalen Carter, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata. Hey, man, congrats to you fellas. Y'all have been balling all year. Well-deserved. Truth be told, you probably could have added a couple more names to that list. Just want to give y'all some love. They said that this is the first time that our offensive line has had 5 starting linemen to receive all-pro votes. So that lets you know any one of these guys on this front 5 as far as the offensive line truly could have been an all-pro, but these 6 were named. Congrats to you all. But now, getting back to this game, man.
And real quick, Huss, correction.
Yo.
I was thinking Charles Haley. Charles Haley was the ex-football player. It's Jeff Haley.
Jeff, you know what? I didn't know if it was Charles, Jeff, Zach, Tim. I just remember his last name was Haley. So you good. Yeah, I mean, F them on their side. We don't care about them. But nah, he respect though. Yeah, he does really have them balling. Like I said, 2 teams who are eerily similar but vastly different. And it's gonna be a good matchup, bro. How you feeling about it though?
Yeah, like you said, man. This is a very great test for us. Obviously, we played in week 1. We won 34-29, but a lot of things and a lot of people could change from week 1 to where we are now at the point of this season. Injuries play a key part in that, obviously, but I'm liking where we're at right now. Like I said earlier, we're at full health, full strength. And just watching the Packers over the past few weeks, I know everybody keeps talking about, oh, the Packers, they've been playing good ball over the past month and things like that, right? So then you got to take into consideration, you got to give some context and some substance. Who have they been playing? So I did a little research because I saw where they said that the Packers, like I said, have been playing well over the past 6 games. They played their last game. They played the Bears. We know who the Bears are, a non-playoff team. They played the Vikings, who, yeah, they are a playoff team. They played the Saints. They fell off. They're not a playoff team. They couldn't even win their division, and their division wasn't the best this year. The Seahawks, another playoff team that missed it from a weak division in the NFC West. The NFC West wasn't as strong as they usually are back in previous seasons. They played the Lions and they played the Dolphins. Another team where you got a superstar receiver. He don't know what he wants to do down there. Just as the same as last year, it's just a chaos down in Miami. What I've seen from the eye test, the Packers look good on paper. Yeah, they got Jordan Love. He has a big arm. He can make all the throws. They have Josh Jacobs, who is a great running back, and can run between the tackles, outside the tackles. They have a trio of receivers who they spread it around. They share the wealth in the passing game. But then you have their defense. Their defense is okay. To me, they have a okay front seven. You have Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, who's the guy? Edrin Cooper. You have Quay Walker actually coming back. But the thing is, it's everybody keeps saying, their defense is ranked like 6. But when you look with the eye test, it's not giving 6 overall to me. Yeah, they're stopping the run. They do a great job at stopping the run. But over the teams I just named, you only have legitimately one team that really has a great running back in the Lions with Jamar Gibbs. And I believe that David Montgomery got hurt. Did he get hurt in that game against the Packers?
I don't know when he got hurt, but he was hurt for several weeks, at least the past month or so. Yes.
Yeah. Sure. But you can't get a fair assessment on their run game because, like I said, they haven't really played a bona fide running back. And then, like we saw in the past game, they can be had. Now they have Xavier McKinney. Xavier McKinney is a dog. We all know him from Alabama and then also from the New York Giants. He has 8 interceptions on the year. But then when you really look around at their secondary, they have Keyshawn Nixon. He's okay. You have Stokes, that was out of Georgia. He's okay. I think they have some guy named like Valentine or something like that. Mm-hmm. He's okay. They can be had on the back end. Some quick stats on the Packers defense. So the Packers defense, like I said, they rank 6th, 5th, 10th, 5th, 7th, 10th, 3rd. But against the pass yards, they rank 14th, and pass attempts, they rank 17th. So that's where we need to establish the run game. We need to establish the run game, establish the dominance up front. Once we establish the run game, that opens up our play action. As you said, I'm not going to go deep into it because you already touched on it a little bit, Huss. We like to take our shots down the field, but especially with Jair Alexander not playing this game, they don't really have anybody to match up with Smitty nor AJ Brown on the outside. And then I really see that they're really vulnerable in the middle of their defense as well. So that's a spot where we can definitely take advantage. I know usually QB1 doesn't go over the middle, but he does find some times where the middle's open, take advantage of that. But like you said, when you look at just roster for roster, pound for pound, player for player, we have the better player across the board in majority of positions. I just feel that from last year to the season that we had and the mindset that we have and the goals that we have, that we're not going to let each other down. And this is going to be a game where we can run it, we can throw it, but we will bully you all game. I don't think that the Packers are ready to come into Philadelphia, especially everybody wants to bring up last year when they said, oh, well, they finished in the 7th seed last year and they went into Dallas and beat Dallas. Yeah, you're right. That's Dallas. Dallas doesn't win in the playoffs. We're a whole different team. And especially the Packers were getting hot towards the end of last year. This year, they're limping into the playoffs. They lost their last 2. They're not looking good. They're injured. Some people who are going to play are still injured and have to do more maintenance than others. It's a different scenario. I just feel, Huss, that our offense is on a different level. Their defense is reeling right now, and it's time to make our move and capitalize on their downfalls.
Nah, for sure. For sure. Before I dive into the offense, real quick,
Mm-hmm.
I've got to touch on injury news. Like you had mentioned, we are all healthy. Everybody will play this week. As for them, they might be missing a few people. Well, they're already going to be missing Jair Alexander. They're going to be missing Christian Watson. But you have some other players who are questionable, so we'll see what their team looks like. And then a quick roster move. We had signed Lewis Seen, another Georgia Bulldog, to the active roster, not even just put him on the practice squad. And we signed Ian Book to the practice squad. But Lewis Seen, 6'2", 199 pounds, first rounder out of Georgia, plays safety, was a 32nd overall pick by the Vikings. Seen a lot of upside. National champion, big potential, big athletic profile, like a lot of these Georgia Bulldogs have coming out. Promise was there. Suffered a compound fracture earlier in his career that kind of derailed him to becoming a true player. Really hasn't played a lot. He only has 10 defensive snaps in the 3 years. Really has been a special teams guy. So I expect him to come in, contribute on special teams, maybe add depth in certain dime prevent situations or whatever it is. But I expect him to be more of a special teamer guy for right now until he really gets his feet wet. Those are just a couple of the roster moves before I really dive into this offense.
We signed Brett Toth as well to the active roster.
To the active?
They put Jessica on IR, I believe. Or yeah, okay. I believe he went to IR. We signed Brett Toth to the active roster and then signed Joseph Nagata to the practice squad.
Yep, and I believe Nagata changed his number.
He gonna have to.
Yeah, I think he went from like either 86 to 87 or 87 to 86. But I see they're bringing in Toth. He's been around. That's a name that we know. Bringing in some reinforcements. He's not new to this. He's been with the Eagles for a little while. But offensively, let's kick it off, man. Hey, started off no turnovers.
No turnovers.
This is a very opportunistic defense. The Packers, just overall, as far as turnovers, they're third in the NFL, plus 12, meaning they're getting turnovers and they're not turning it over a lot. The Eagles are ranked 6th at plus 11th. They are 4th in total turnovers with 31. So, like I said, opportunistic. If we go back to that week 1 matchup, even though things have changed, this team has drastically evolved. We had 3 turnovers in that game early, you know what I mean? Really was shooting ourselves in the foot, really was putting our defense in a bad position, giving the Packers offense, which is a overall good offense. They're a solid offense. We were putting them in plus territory. We can't do that. This is a game where can't turn the ball over and we have to start fast. Get up on them early. Run the ball. Now look, Rashawn Gary might not be the best pass rusher. They have a D tackle. TJ Slayton might not be the best pass rusher, but these two respectively are first in the NFL in run stop win rate per Shane Half. So as you mentioned earlier, this is a good run defense. Their front 4, front 7 do a good job at stopping the run. They are a big D line. Their interior D line is anywhere from 310 to 320 pounds. Excuse me. They're edge players. How we have smaller edge players, 245, 250. These guys are 260, 270 plus. They are a bigger D line. They do that to help control the run, and it's worked for them so far. They're a top 10 run defense. They're a top 10 overall defense. But if we're not getting big runs early, as we know, stick with it. Eventually, it will break. Saquon had over 1,300 yards in the second half rushing alone. Damn near more than Josh Jacobs had for the whole year. He had 1,300 just in the second half. So that O-line leans on you. They wear you down. And eventually those runs will break. So continue to run the ball. As we know, Saquon went over 2,000 yards on the year. So they're going to be looking for it. But feed him. He only needs 118 more rushing yards in the playoffs and will pass Jamal Anderson for the 5th most rushing yards in NFL history, including playoffs. Let's get creative with the run. I mean, let's switch it up. I like the creativity from week 18. Let's carry some of that over. And Kellen, dip into your bag, baby. If there's any time to do it, the playoffs are where you do it. You save a little bit, but you empty that bag out. The wide receivers should win. We mentioned Jair Alexander. He's out, so you'll have Nixon. You'll have Stokes. You might have Javon Bullard manning the slot, depending upon who they deploy. As far as I'm concerned, these are all winnable matchups from our wide receiver and our tight end group. Do not expect a lot of man with Jair being out. They're probably going to run more cover 2, cover 3, cover 6. So look for a lot of these cover 2 beaters, like you mentioned earlier. I want to see them attack the middle of the field. The Packers are vulnerable in the middle, and it doesn't have to be just running seam routes or, you know what I mean, busting up the middle. Run some digs behind it. Get that backside defender to move, kind of. I forget which game they did that in. They hit AJ on a crosser on a cover 2 play behind it. Because most times in cover 2, shoot, what game was that? Was that the Bengals game? I forget which game it was. But most times in cover 2, that middle backer is going to open up to the field side or wherever the passing strength is. So when he opens to go that way, run a dig right behind it. It'll be there. You saw where the Steelers later in the Steelers game, they had run cover 2. And it started to give Jalen some fits. You saw him holding the ball a little bit more indecisive. Jalen is best where he's getting the ball out of his hands fast. So let's have a lot of coverage beaters, especially for that cover 2, cover 6. So we can get, he's not thinking. I'm here, I'm reacting. That'll help also with him coming out of concussion protocol. You don't want to see him holding the ball, getting banged around. This defense, although in our eyes, they can be had, they are an aggressive defense. This defense flies around. They are going to play to the whistle. Okay, you said Jeff Haley?
Jeff Haley.
Jeff Haley. Jeff Haley has these guys playing hard. They play hard. No doubt about it. This is not a big blitzing team. As you know, all year folks are like, let's blitz Jalen. You're not going to see a lot of blitzes in this game. If they do blitz, a lot of times it's on third and medium, third and long. When third and medium, they're blitzing 54% of the time. That's ranked second. Third and long, they're blitzing 45% of the time. That's ranked second. So those third and medium to long, they want to pressure that quarterback so he can get the ball out of his hands fast and hopefully get a turnover. Like I said, this is an opportunistic defense, but with all the weapons we have, the O-line, I feel like over time will lean on that Packers D-line. They have not faced a rushing attack like this. They have not faced the offense like this. The explosive weapons truly all around outside of maybe the Detroit Lions. And you see how that went. They lost twice to them. When this Packer, like I said, as much love that the media and everybody wants to give this Packers, not only defense, but team as a whole, when they play these bigger games, they do not fare well. We are an elite opponent. We are the best team in the NFL, despite what everyone might want to tell you. So I expect this offense to really, I want to say, have their way with this defense, but shoot, for lack of better words, have their way.
Mm-hmm. And to add on one quick point to our to the run game, because with the Packers, their run defense outside of the tackles ranks number 3 in the league. Their run defense inside the tackles ranked number 24 in the league. So that's something to keep in mind. Like you said, they're bigger in the middle, especially with Kenny Clark and Slayton and things like that. So what I'm saying is don't be scared to run up the middle, but have some outside zones. You see what I'm saying? Some toss sweeps, things like that to get outside, because I do like our odds getting on the edge, because what I notice is they're not a fast flowing defense. So we can get on the outside. I feel like we can win in the run game.
Especially with these hog mollies, for real, getting on those smaller defenders and the way our receivers and everybody has been blocking. Yeah, I can see that. I can for sure see that. So like I say, get creative with the run. You have a 2,000-yard rusher. Don't be afraid to run Jalen. Use his legs. I'm not saying run him a lot, but just keep him honest. They should have still think about a concussion or not, because if I'm a defender and I'm going into this game, like they don't, I'm sure they don't follow Philly news all like that, but I'm looking, damn, Jalen Bernard, 2-3 weeks concussion, right? His head off the ground. First chance I get, I'm gonna try to hit him. But on top of that, I wouldn't be expecting the Philadelphia Eagles to really run him like
Run him.
that because they're going to want to preserve him for the playoffs. So you take that one hand off. If you hit it for 5 yards, cool. You hit it for 15, cool. Whatever it is, get down. Get what you get down. Just keep them honest. But run the ball. We have to consistently run the ball. Our offense, as far as the passing game, works better off the play action, as we all know. And like I said, it should be a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively,
this is going to be an intriguing game. I'm definitely excited from, like we said, from week one. I know they put up 29 points on us.
Mm-hmm.
I know everybody loves to give Jordan Love major kudos. Like, people put him in like he's a top 10 quarterback. Me personally, I feel that he's okay. The thing is, he thrives off of play action. Like we said before, they run the football a lot. Obviously they want to get Josh Jacobs heavily involved. So after Josh Jacobs establishes the run game, you build off the play action with Jordan Love. He's better. He can pick you and dissect you from the pocket. But sometimes when you do get Jordan Love out of the pocket, he can have some errant throws and some missed throws. So everybody keeps harping on the fact that Jordan Love over the past 6 games had 9 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. Right. So like we said, I didn't really want to count the Bears game because he did get knocked out of that with his elbow. So the last game, the Vikings, he threw for 185 yards, had 1 touchdown. Against the Saints, he had 182 yards and 1 touchdown. Against the Seahawks, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns. Against the Lions, 206 yards, 1 touchdown. And finally, against the Dolphins, and that's his best game in this 6 game span. He had 274 yards and 2 touchdowns. That was over a month ago. Everybody harps on, Jordan Love, he's the next up and coming quarterback. He's the next young quarterback. What I see is he's a solid quarterback, but I don't think that the Packers have faced a defensive line to our caliber. You haven't faced a Jordan Davis. You haven't faced a Jalen Carter, a Nolan Smith, a Josh Sweat, a Milton Williams. So when I was doing some research on the Packers and doing some film study, I saw their offensive line consists of their left tackle, Rasheed Walker. And actually, it's funny. He gave up 4 pressures and had 2 holding penalties against us in week 1, right? So then you have Elton Jenkins at left guard. You have Josh Myers at center. You have Sean Ryan at right guard, and then Zach Tom at right tackle. From what I see is they can be had. Especially I look at the tackles in Rasheed Walker and Zach Tom. They're not the best in pass pro. I saw last week when they played the Bears, one of the Bears defenders he did a simple bull rush and almost knocked the left tackle Rashawn Walker over. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, look, y'all had a little struggle, even though they're in the division, y'all had to struggle with the Bears. The Bears are who we thought they were.
The Bears are who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
All right, they'll be okay in the next few years. They got a lot of money and stuff like that. But the Bears are who we thought they were this year. And the fact that y'all were struggling in pass protection against them, like I said, the 2 tackles, and then the right guard, Sean Ryan, you're going to have a day. And you better bring your lunch pail to work, bro, because you got bread man Jalen Carter right there. I expect us to push the pocket in the middle. Once we push that pocket, we got to condense the pocket from the outside. We have to collapse and make a funnel where Jordan Love can't escape and get outside the pocket. Jordan Love really doesn't like to get hit. All right. So once you rattle him and you get him off his spot, he can, for his big arm, he can make a lot of errant throws and missed throws. So once like I said, the game plan should be focusing on condensing and stopping Josh Jacobs, and then also their backup. Who is their backup, Huss?
Malik. Heck, bro. I was about to say Malik Neighbors.
Emmanuel Wilson.
Oh, you're talking about running back. I'm sorry.
Yep, running back. Yep, running
Emmanuel
back.
Wilson,
Yep.
yes.
Yep. So eliminate them. Once we eliminate them, I like our odds to put it on Jordan Love, especially coming off the elbow injury. He doesn't have his deep threat in Christian Watson. Unfortunately, he tore his ACL last week. So I'm not really worried about them running flat out by us in a deep play action game. I know a lot of the times they run a lot of shotgun under center, and they run a lot of short passes. So we definitely got to be able to rally up, tackle, gang tackle. Also, I don't think that he's on Dallas Goedert's level, but Tucker Kraft, he's a decent tight end, but he can make plays happen. So what I want to see is just discipline. I want to see tenacity. I want to see everybody knowing their assignment. I want to see everybody playing for each other. This is going to be a great matchup for Zach Bond going against Josh Jacobs. And then also our back end, even though they don't have the big receiver, they spread the wealth. So I want our back end to be disciplined. But I'm looking for our defensive line to have a major day and wreck it. Also, I know a lot of people have been saying, Huss, real quick, that you all have, this is Jalen Carter's first year in the playoffs. This, well, not first year, but in a meaningful playoff game. Because last year we were limping into the playoffs going against Tampa, so I can't really count that. But Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Quinyon, Coop, these are Zach Bond, N'Kobe Dean. These are young guys who I feel, with the lights being bright, they're not going to fold. I feel that we're going to get the same production that we have been getting throughout the regular season, and it's going to come into the playoffs. I know having Vic Fangio, he's going to have them boys ready. We're going to be disciplined. We're going to execute at a very high level, and I just want to see us rally, tackle, gang tackle, force turnovers, get the ball out, and give our offense the X amount of, or as many opportunities as they can to score on the Packers.
Nah, for sure. You mentioned folks saying the lights might be too bright for this Philadelphia Eagles team. I don't buy into that. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of championship pedigree on this defense, but not just defense, offense, this team in general. These guys have been playing in meaningful games since they were 18, 19 years old. You play SEC football or Big Ten football, or whatever the case it may be. That is big time football. You are being tested on a week-to-week basis. For a lot of those schools, if you're not winning that national championship, kind of how the Philadelphia Eagles feel, if you're not winning that Super Bowl, that season somewhat is a bust. you know what I mean? So I don't buy into that at all. These defenders, this team, they will be ready to go. Everybody, you have a lot of football experience on that coaching staff. You have a lot of football experience with the players who have been there, done that. So they'll be prepared. I'm not concerned about the lights being too big at all. I would more so maybe say that for some of the Packers defenders, or some of the Packers players, excuse me. But defensively, look. This Packers offense, it's a legit offense. You know what I mean? I know they're a man down with Christian Watson, but they can run the ball, they can throw the ball. As I mentioned when I started, Matt LaFleur, he comes off that Shanahan tree. We know how good Kyle Shanahan is out there with the 49ers. Very creative, a run game, very creative pass game. You know, LaFleur is right off that tree. Love to run it, love to set a play action pass, a lot of misdirection, a lot of window dressing, right? Now, with that being said, where you start, as you mentioned, tackle. From that week one matchup, the one thing I would say, the tackling was piss poor in that game, especially later as the game progressed. I'm talking about second half. Josh Jacobs had damn near close to 100 yards just in the second half because we weren't tackling. Tackle. And I'm not talking just 1v1 tackling. I'm talking gang tackling. 11 people running to the ball every damn play. We need that intensity. We need that effort. We need that discipline when it comes to this game. And then from tackling, stop the run. Look, we have a top 10 run defense, but they also have a top rushing attack. We run the ball, what did I say earlier? 55% of the time. Mm-hmm. They're third in rushing play percentage. They run the ball 51% of the time. So they're dedicated. And it's not, as you mentioned, Jordan Love. He will run maybe when need be, but he only has, I believe, less than 200 yards rushing on the year. So running isn't his go-to. Does he manipulate the pocket well? Yes, but you don't have to really factor him in too much in the running game. That might be a little something that the Packers should think about. Maybe put him in the run game, just throw a little wrinkle. But anyway, this isn't for them. So when it comes to this running back, look, or this running team, they're the only team in NFL history to average 4 yards per carry in every game this year, which means not only are they running the ball, they're effective running the ball. You run the ball 3 times, that's 12 yards. That's the first down. If you're going off these stats, right? 6 weeks, 10, they have used pony personnel 80% of the time running the ball. For those who don't know, pony personnel is when you have quarterback, 2 running backs, not running back, fullback, truly 2 running backs. So you'll see Josh Jacob, and then you'll see Emmanuel Wilson. Josh Jacob, the name speaks for itself. Over 1,300 yards rushing this year, averaged 4.4 yards per carry, 15 rushing touchdowns. By all standards, he's having a great year. Tell me that if he didn't have names like Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, he's the guy. He's solid. Mm-hmm. Then you have Emmanuel Wilson. He's a number 2 back. Typically, you think number 2 back. I mean, he's okay, but he's not going to really hold his water like that. Emmanuel Wilson is pretty good. You mentioned Josh Jacobs has over 1,300 yards rushing. Emmanuel Wilson has over 500 yards rushing. So when you say that out loud, you're like, dang, as a backup, he has over 500 yards. That's close to 1,000 yards. If he was a starter, he'd probably be a 1,000-yard rusher. Okay, he's averaging 4.9 yards a carry, so 5 yards a carry, and has 4 rushing touchdowns on the year. So this running game between these 2 running backs, they're not only giving it volume, but it is highly, highly effective. And then not only to mention, do you have the running backs, they have the 3rd most wide receiver carries. So when it comes to jet sweeps, reverses, as we saw in the first matchup, the dude Reed, he takes a jet sweep, 30-some yards house call, right? They try to get the running game to be very creative, hitting it on the edges with the receivers, pounding it up the middle from center to tackle with their 2 running backs, and it works. So we have to cut the head off the run, right? Because if you don't do that, here comes the play action, right? And not that they have the best receivers. They don't. You mentioned they don't. This isn't the Packers team where they have a standout name like an A.J. Brown or a Devontae Smith. They have a receiving room by committee. You have between receivers and their starting tight end, 5 players with over 400 yards receiving. And all 5 of those players have 2 touchdowns or more. Now, granted, each receiver brings a little bit of a different skill set. You have Jaden Reed, 850 yards, 6 touchdowns. He's the most yards on the team. You have Tucker Kraft. You mentioned him. 50 receptions, 700 yards, 7 touchdowns. Most touchdowns on the team. Christian Watson, even though he only has 29 receptions, he has 620 yards. That's close to over 20 yards per reception and 2 touchdowns. He is their deep threat. He wants to take the lid off the defense. 6'4", 215, 4'3" guy, big playability. Okay. Then you have Romeo Doubs, 600 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he has the most first down. So when they're looking for a key first down, they're looking towards Romeo Doubs' way.
Possession receiver.
Possession guy. Mm-hmm. Right. Then you have Dontavian Wicks. He has 415 yards and 5 touchdowns. He is their target leader. Now, granted, he doesn't have the most yards, but they target him the most. Every receiver brings a little something different. So this isn't a game where defensive, you like, hey, man, let's just key in on this guy. We'll be good. You have to play sound defense, disciplined defense. Trust your eyes, trust your keys, and stay in position. Because if you don't, any one of these guys can go off. Mm-hmm. Now, we mentioned they won't have Christian Watson, so we'll see how they navigate the explosive game as far as the pass game goes. Might be a lot of underneath stuff. I'm not sure if you can too much beat us with underneath stuff, but look for that. Eagles should play more man coverage in this game. Packers rank 14th most effective versus man coverage. That's the middle of the pack. They rank 4th versus zone. So come out there, get up in these receivers' grills. Let's get aggressive. Let's light, as you mentioned, Jordan Love up. Let's try to touch him. Now look, Love hasn't been sacked a lot this year. He's only been sacked 14 times. In comparison to Jalen Hurts has been sacked 38 times. So you can see where I'm going with this. He's not a big runner, but he navigates the pocket well. As you mentioned, this O-line, it's a solid O-line, but they can be had. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, these guys should really get off on the interior of this line. Per Brandon Lee Gouton, no quarterback has faced a higher percentage of pressure attributed to the center position than Love at 22%. You're talking about over a fifth of the time, your center is given a pressure right up the middle. Starter Josh Meyer ranks 41st out of 44 centers by PFF. So he's a bottom of the barrel center. He's not a Cam Jurgens. He's not a Jason Kelce. He's not some of these elite centers that we've faced over the years or had over the years. Starting right guard, Sean Ryan ranks 49th out of 82 guards. He was originally being utilized in a rotation with first-round pick Jordan Morgan, but he suffered a season injury, the Jordan Morgan guy. So you have Sean Ryan. He's a middle-of-the-pack guy. Our interior D-line is elite. So I expect pressure up the middle. If you go back to that first game, I believe N'Kobe Dean ran over somebody in a blocking, running backs blocking early in the game. Send that pressure up the middle. Get in Jordan Love's face. Push him off his mark. Like I said, make him uncomfortable. He doesn't want to get hit, especially with him now having a nagging injury. He's going to be avoiding a lot of these hits at all costs. With no Christian Watson out, like I said, big play out of the game. Cooper over Maddox. I'm interested to see how this works out in our first matchup. Jaden Reed torched us, but I believe he went for 130 some total yards. 120 of those yards came from the slot. So Vontae, as we already know, he didn't have his best game. Insert Cooper DeJean. He's been fantastic. So I'm interested to see how to deploy Cooper DeJean, how they use him. But on the flip side, how the Packers combat how good he's been. Limit the explosive plays. I believe that's one of the main reasons why we really lost him in that first matchup. You had a big run by Josh Jacobs, big run by Jaden Reed, big pass play by Jaden Reed. As we know from the bye week on, this team doesn't really give up big plays. This Vic Fangio defense is predicated on not giving up the big play. We didn't see that in the first game. It was way too many big plays, and that's really how they kept themselves in the game. So we limit the big plays, sound defense, pressure Jordan Love, tackle. We can control this game. We really can. It starts with stopping the run, though. Everything for them works off the run. Cut the head off the snake there. I like Jordan Love. I believe that he might be top 10, top 12 quarterback, but he's a hot and cold quarterback. He is very wildly inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get from him on a week-to-week basis, especially with him coming off an injury. I expect him to be a little skittish. Light that ass up, man. Get after him. Straight up. Yeah. Any other takes defensively? Anything you want to add? Thoughts?
Honestly, we covered everything, man. What I just really want to see is just disciplined football, no self-inflicted wounds. We know that refs are going to be out looking for us. You see what I'm saying? Especially with the playoffs, especially with the bright lights. Let's not make any boneheaded decisions and make us play behind the sticks. Let's not make it easier for the Packers. They're coming into Philly. Let's get the crowd behind us. Let's get it on third down where, look, Jordan Love can't hear. The offense can't hear the play call. We need to be able to pin our ears back and get after them. But it's going to be a solid matchup. Like we said, Huss, the number one thing is tackling. Just gang tackle. Rally to the football. All 11 men to the football. We'll be fine.
No, for sure. As you mentioned, defensively, let's keep them behind the sticks. Offensively, let's stay ahead of the sticks. The Packers are good in third and shorts offensively. You don't want them to be in a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. In that moment, it opens up their entire playbook. Everything is on the table. They can get creative running. They can get creative passing. Everything. You keep them 3rd and 8, 3rd and 12, where it's obvious you got to pass. Jordan Love is not that efficient. I had a stat. I can't quite find it, but keep them 3rd and longs. You have to limit the creativity of the offense. You want Jordan Love, even though folks are trying to say he's one of those guys, you want him to shoulder this load. You want him to beat you. You don't want Josh Jacobs in there hammering us, controlling the clock, trying to control time of possession. Okay, because they're up there in time of possession. Look, we control the ball. I believe it was 32 minutes and a half. They control the ball 31 minutes. So a lot of times they're winning time of possession. That's because they're running the ball. You can't let them do that in this game. You gotta have when you have an opportunity to get them off the field, get them off the field. Now, granted, this guy isn't Jaden Daniels from the Commanders, where it's 4th and long and he's gonna scramble for 30-some yards. But when you get in those moments, get off the field, fam. Do not give them another opportunity. You give this offense too many opportunities, I assure you, you will get scarred. It will burn you. But now that's really all I got. Last thing I really want to talk about as far as the team goes, special teams. Look. This is playoff football, man. This is where special teams really do make or break you. Going back to that 2022 Super Bowl versus the Chiefs, we lost a lot of that game, or that game really got out of hand when Tony broke that punt return. Special teams. It put them in a position to control the game, and they did. We cannot have that this week. We need sound coverage, kickoff, punt, all of these things. They have a returner, Keyshawn Nixon. He's not quite Turpin from the Cowboys, but he's dangerous.
He's solid.
He is a dangerous returner. We must be sound. Keep your lanes and tackle. When it comes to the kicking game, Brandon Mann, you've been solid. Please continue to do what you've been doing. Or as far as punt goes, I would like to see them use Jake Elliott on kickoffs, because it seems like he did a little better when he started doing the kickoffs. But as far as the field goals, Jake, I'm gonna call you Jake the Make, because I'm trying to instill confidence in you. Jake the Make, big dog, you got to make your field goals. But on the flip side of that, Nick Sirianni, don't put Jake in any wild positions either, because he's already shown to have struggled throughout this season. Yeah, I mean, if you can make it some reasonable 30-yard field goals, extra points, whatever it is, cool. I don't want to see him out there attempting 50-plus yard field goals. He's just, for whatever the reason, I don't know if it's leg strength, injury, whatever it is, he has not been really consistent with making them. I believe he's 1 of 7 on the year on 50-plus field goals. And then you have to think, if he kicks the ball 50-plus yards, whatever it is, and he misses it, you are giving a high-octane or potentially high-octane Packers offense outstanding field position. We don't want to do that. So help Jake out, put him in good positions, and then Jake, when they call your number, big dog, you have to come through like you have been in previous years. Special teams have to be on point. This is the first week where we're going to be tested, because they have a kicker who is elite. Brandon McManus has been on point this year.
He only has 1 miss
on the whole year. Now, you say that, and then you look at our kicker, and it's like, big dog. Come on, baby. Come on. You supposed to be one of them ones. He got paid and everything else. Come through. And I believe he will. I truly do. I believe he will.
Yeah, you couldn't ask that any better, bro. With the special teams, I need them to all be on the same accord. I need them to all know their assignment. Make sure if the kick is to the right, the kick is to the left, whatever directional kick, you know where it's going to. We've been having a good season on kickoffs. We really haven't given up too many return yardage on kickoffs. So I'm looking forward to, like you said, Keyshawn Nixon. He's a solid kick returner. But if they decide to turn it out, to run it out, let's get down there, rally, make the tackle, punt coverage, be disciplined. I love our gunners and Sidney Brown and Keely Ringo on the outside and how we defend the punt. Let's continue to build on that.
Interesting to see if they put Lewis Seen as a gunner. I want to see how they might use him. Well, we'll see. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to see how they use him on special teams.
And finally, like you said, bro, the main worry that I have going into these playoffs is Jake Elliott. I know that we joke around sometimes, and then sometimes we're very hard on him. But um, coming from what we know and what Jake Elliott has been to this organization, it just seems that, like we've touched on in earlier videos, he may have lost his strength in his leg, he may have lost his confidence. We don't know what's going on, but he's been in these situations before. He's kicked in a Super Bowl, so this is not new to him. We need him to buckle down and focus up. I know that they said that he missed a 33-yard field goal at practice. And some people in the Philly area were saying it was windy that day, but I don't want to hear none of that. The fact that he's a veteran kicker, I can understand if he was making all his kicks in the game, and then he just had one random miss at practice. Oh, okay, cool. It just it was windy. Let's chalk it up to that. Yeah, but this is a current pattern, like a trending behavior. He keeps missing when we need him the most, and I'm starting to get to the point. I have all the faith in Jake Elliott, and just like we talked off camera, because I'm starting to get to the point where I'm expecting or almost thinking that we are going to have one or two misses in a game from Jake Elliott. And I'm starting to get to the point where I don't want him to miss, obviously, but if he does miss, please miss in the first quarter, early second, something around that time where we can regroup and recover from that and still win the game. It's one and done in these playoffs.
Right.
It ain't no coming back next week. You take an L, your season's done. Pack up, go to Cabo. You feel me? And I don't want it to get to a point where it's the middle of the third, early fourth, 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and we're down 2, and Jake Elliott misses a field goal, which could put us up 1. And now we're scrambling to, we have to stop this offense. We got to watch the clock. I don't want to be put into that situation. So Jake Elliott, please, whatever you need to do, come in extra focused, come in super prepared. If you got to stay after practice and kick more, if you got to come in early and kick, you need to get back to doing what you previously did, because I don't want it to get to a point where we're going through these playoffs. And I know special teams, we play complementary football, offense, defense, and special teams, and it's a part of the team. I don't want it to get to a point where we're playing excellent football all across the board, and coaches included, and we get to Jake Elliott and he costs us the game. I don't want to see that. So that, like I said, that's my main issue. But hopefully that gets cleaned up. And to your point, and to your credit, Huss, Nick Sirianni put him in great positions for him to succeed. If you know that he hasn't had an opportunity to kick yet, and we throw him out there to kick a 56-yarder, it's probably not the best idea. So a lot of those 4th and 3s and 4th and shorts that maybe we might put Jake Elliott out there, I think, and I truly feel that it's in the best interest to sometimes, I think, keep the offense on the field and go for it there, because I'd rather the offense go for it and we don't get it than I know we're going to put out Jake Elliott, who hasn't been the best this year, and it's a potential that we know he's going to miss it.
No, for sure. And it'll be something to see how Sirianni and Michael Clay and everybody really navigate that. Because as you mentioned, if it's a 55-yarder, 56-yarder, whatever it is, and you're sitting there 4th and 2, you're like, I really want to take the points, but I don't know. You might have to go for it. As far as I'm concerned, if you're having to question, or if it's giving you that type of hesitation, then don't do it. You delete the offense out there. If you're really contemplating whether or not you should put him out there, then it's probably best you don't. Put him in there in opportunistic positions. Put him in a position to win, not only so the Eagles could win, but it'll be a boost for his confidence moving forward. Because at some point, I don't care how it shakes out, whether it be now, divisional, conference, Super Bowl, we're going to need him. And you want him to have the utmost confidence in himself, and you want the team to have the utmost confidence in him. Kicking is very mental. Very mental. So I'm sure these are things that have been discussed, corrected, worked through. And like I said, special teams, just be sound. Jake, be sound. Michael Clay, have your unit ready to go. This playoff run is going to be about complementary ball. This team working in unison, and the coaching staff putting the team in the best position to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all I have. Any other thoughts? You want to talk to the folks?
Yeah, just some final thoughts, Huss.
Yeah.
It's like we always say, it's an honor and a privilege to be an Eagles fan. And us growing up, we haven't always been at this pinnacle that we have been in the past 3 or 4 seasons. It's been times back in the day. We've obviously been blessed by Andy Reid. We had that little mishap with Chip Kelly, and then with Dougie P. But I feel back in the day, we were always just happy to have a competitive team. It was to the point where, all right, we're playing an elite team. Maybe we can beat them if we catch them slipping. Maybe we might play them close, but we might not win. We just wanted to be competitive. Now, the fact that we're at the pinnacle that we are, I want us as Eagle fans to be cocky. Our fans, our organization have given us every reason for us to be cocky. You see what I'm saying? Because now, from past years to now, like I said, we can look at a team, whether it be the Chiefs, whether it be the Bills, the Ravens, whoever you want to put up there. Our team has gone in and proven that we can play with the big dogs, and to the extent where now we're the bullies. We got bullied last year. Now we're the bullies. I want our fan base. We always have the players back and the organizations back, but I want us to be a little bit more cockier. I want us to feel good about this matchup. Everybody keeps saying the Packers. I'm not discrediting them. They're a good team, but everybody keeps saying that this is a tough draw. I don't really feel like this is a tough draw, Huss. To be honest with you, I think that, like I said, pound for pound, skill for skill, player for player, we're better all across the board. So
Can't wait to hear your score prediction.
Yeah. Oh, you already know. You feel me? But just like Dick Sirianni says, tough together detail. Tough together detail. Actually, Saquon had on a hoodie that said tough together detail. That's what we have to be in order to get to where we want to be. But that's just all I really want to touch on, Huss. Like I said, I want our fans to get up for this, because it just seems like usually we're always in the Philly area, but obviously we're not in the Philly area no more. But we have some people that's still in the Philly area, and they were saying that the energy was down across the city. Like, it wasn't a lot of go birds. It wasn't a lot of talk. You see what I'm saying?
Don't worry about it.
It's going to ramp up. As soon
as that game hit, for real, them lights get to going, all that smoke, it's going to be a completely different atmosphere, for real. They put some new side down, so you got some new flooring in that joint. It's looking good. It's gonna be completely different. I guarantee.
Hey, look, we're gonna have to turn up. We're gonna have to turn up. But I'm just looking for an overall complete and good game. Make sure, that y'all keep liking these videos. Make sure that y'all keep commenting on the videos. We want to definitely hear y'all thoughts and know where y'all tapping in from and showing love to us from. Make sure y'all keep subscribing to the channel and helping our community grow. And then also, and last but not least, make sure that y'all turning on that notification bell, also known as that Liberty Bell looking thingy, so you don't miss when Swoop comes in with all the Eagles news and updates.
Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Score predictions.
Score prediction. All right, big guys, here we go. I ain't gonna take too long on this because I feel like we gave a lot of great detail and insight and points on why we feel that the Philadelphia Eagles are better than the Green Bay Packers and should best the Green Bay Packers on Sunday. Like we said, let's stick to our game plan. Let's not beat ourselves. Let's not turn the football over. Let's play let's play collectively. Like we said, let's play complementary football. And everything will work itself out. But I went back and forth with my score prediction, but everybody keeps thinking it's going to be a close game, bro. I'm getting the feeling that we've learned from 2022 Super Bowl loss. We learned from last year's debacle, and I feel that we're on a new wave, a new mindset, a new grind, and I think that everybody it's all hands on deck and buying into what we have here, and it's something special. But like I said, Huss, I kept going back and forth, but I think it's going to be a blowout, bro. I think that we're going to win 41-17. I think we're going to have 5 touchdowns and 2 field goals. I think that the Packers, they're going to move the ball a little bit, but not too much. But like I said, I think it's going to be a blowout. Like I said, I stand 41-17.
Nah, that's crazy. we really only got one number that's different, right? I got them scoring 17. I do. And I got us scoring 31 points. So 31-17. Still 14-point game. Blowout. You know what I'm saying? But 40, we hang a 40 burger on them boys. Let me tell you what. We put a 40 on them. Folks in the playoffs are going to get real nervous. Not that they not already nervous, because as you know, I'm here in Detroit. Folks here are already talking about they don't want to see us in that NFC Championship game for real. They don't want that. We put a 40 on them Packers. That's ugly work. I pray it happens. I got us going 30. I do think we're going to reach 30. But 31-17 is mine. A 40 burger would be nice.
See, I like that 31-17 though, Huss. But the reason why I would wade so heavily into my thought process is why I feel we're going to hit 40 is the simple fact. I know, I get it. It was week 1, but you got to think, Huss. We were fully healthy. We didn't have everybody on the same accord. In week 1, the field wasn't the best. In Brazil, we put up 34 points, and on top of not only putting up 34 points, Huss, we had 3 turnovers, big bro.
Facts. Early.
What's the chances of us having 3 turnovers and we put up 34 on them? So that's why I say 41.
No, I like it. I do. Hey, if it happened, I'm gonna be completely honest. If it did happen, I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean? I just, not to hold you all any longer. I don't hold, and this is not poo-pooing on the Packers, but I don't hold the Packers in the same regard that a lot of folks do. I genuinely don't. I think they're a good team. I just don't think that they're there yet. They have not been proven. This team has been battle tested. We've gone against the best of the best, and a lot of times we've come out the victor. Can the Packers say the same? I can't. I can't say that. Your most impressive victory, if you're a Packers fan, of the Packers over the past 2 years is the Cowboys. As far as I'm concerned, not impressed.
From last year, bro.
Last year. To me, that is your most impressive win. I give y'all stomped a hole in the boys. I give the Packers that. But I mean, as Eagle fans, we know the Cowboys, really. Especially playoff Cowboys. Yeah. Are we surprised? So
chokers.
Yeah, nah.
He's choking. I can't breathe.
Nah, but seriously though. So now I would not be surprised. I like that. And that's kind of all I got to round it out. Once again, sending prayers and love to everyone out in California dealing with the wildfires. All the families and individuals, please stay safe as you can. Seek the help that you can. I'm hoping that they're really helping you all out like that, but really praying for you all, because I couldn't imagine going through something like that. That's ridiculous. So,
and not only California, big Huss, but we forgot to mention too, in New Orleans, we're praying for their families as well.
Exactly. Totally slipped my mind. Yes, absolutely. New Orleans as well, because that was tragic. 2025, as far as world news or whatever, has been a little shaky, but we gonna hopefully we get it right. So prayers out to everybody. And for the Eagles fans, go Birds. Y'all know what it is. And if you don't know, I go by Big Huss.
And I go by Mr. Owens.
And this is the Main Thing podcast, where we keep the main thing
the main thing.
Hey, go Birds. Love y'all, Eagles family. Shout out to the community. Let's get it. Let's have a great weekend. Stay safe. Playoff victory number 1 on its way. Loading. Y'all have a great one.
It was I was gonna make a lot of money doing what I wanted to do. I went after it, and it was a struggle to achieve it. But you know what? I caught that bitch. Dream chasing.